Dear friend Kellyanne Conway, former counselor to President Trump, host of Here's the Deal with Kellyanne, that on Fox Nation. Kellyanne, I just think there's a certain flip-flop panic because of lousy polling going on. She should be much further ahead in the lead. She's not. Some of these polls are showing Trump coming strong. She didn't get a convention back. That's why I think this flip-flopping is occurring. But then again, I don't know anything about politics. You know everything about politics. So what do you think about this?
You know plenty, but more importantly, the American people can suss out authenticity and consistency. She can't back away from the Harris White House. You know what, Larry? If the Democrats have dumped Biden, we should too. This is the Harris economy. This is Harris inflation. This is the Harris border crisis. She's the incumbent, not the insurgent. You know how I know that? She flies around in the Air Force too. We refer to her as the vice president. She owns and eats all of this. Her flips, her flops, her failings, her flailings. I think it's a bad look for any woman in authority and power who's trying to convince you that she's up to the job of domestic energy and economic steward and commander-in-chief to keep changing her mind. We're wondering, who is she today? You're absolutely right, because we saw it a little bit in the Republican primary, too, didn't we? That people weren't going to go for Trump light if they could just have the real thing. Right. Now, with Kamala, I think she's starting to anger and alienate a lot of the folks who want her to be Bernie Sanders without the charm, and Elizabeth Warren without the eloquence. They want her to be more socialist. Larry, in preparation for today, I went back and looked at the good old New York Economic Club speech from 2016. President Trump did the same thing in 2020, but he delivered it from the Rose Garden. Boy, if you go back and look at what he said in 2020, all he had accomplished, all he was promising for a second term, which he's about to get, he really put it to Kamala, even though he wasn't running against her. He said, this is different between us promoting workers, an industry that was flat on its back, versus punishing workers and outsourcing our jobs and our wealth legally overseas to places like China, recalibrating those trade deals, the energy independence. I listened to her today in New Hampshire, Larry, Kamala Harris promising to help small business owners. The fact is, we've had a 31-month roll of lower confidence among small business owners. It's been 31 months. That's how long she's been there, pretty much, according to NFIB. You can't be a supply side success if you've been a supply chain failure. Look, Donald Trump's leading her on the chief question, who do you trust more to handle the economy in all the swing states? That's the key.
What do you think he's going to be with Sean Hannity tonight, Fox Town Hall up in Pennsylvania? I think he's going to probably talk a lot about energy. And, he's the guy who's in favor of fracking, no pale imitation here, and how important oil and gas is. Pennsylvania, as you know, is a huge oil and gas state, and hundreds of thousands of jobs dependent on it. I'm just thinking that when Sean gets him out there, he's going to emphasize that. Ms. Trump's going to emphasize that. And by the by, if you produce more oil and gas, guess what happens? Prices fall, and inflation, not just inflation rates, but actually the level of prices will fall for hundreds of consumer goods throughout the economy. I got to believe he's going to make those kinds of points, Kellyanne. What you think?
He should, and I think part of Donald Trump's energy independence agenda and success as president, his performance, Larry, is why he is staying competitive in Pennsylvania, a state that's been voting more Democratic for its governor, for its senator, Fetterman last time around. I think it's because they know the Trump record on the economy, but particularly energy. When you talk about banning fracking, as Kamala Harris has, whether she wants to lie about it or not, she has, you literally are going into households all across Pennsylvania and saying, I'm taking your jobs from you, I'm taking your livelihood. And it's all out of spite. Larry, it doesn't even seem to be ideological or principled. It seems to be out of spite. Same reason for killing those Keystone Pipeline jobs on day one. Same reason for the war on fossil fuels. Same reason to pause those LNG permits so that Putin's sourcing Western and Eastern Europe with fuel now. This is not good with energy now. So they know who's backing fracking. His name is Donald Trump. But look, I think President Trump can talk about the economy in full. It is at its core about energy independence, but he's the guy who gave us the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, the recalibrated trade deals. He's the guy who looked at industry in our beloved Pennsylvania, mining, coal, manufacturing, construction, and said, on for you. Hillary said, I'm going to put coal out of business. I thought, wow, we don't even have to run a commercial. We'll just show her. So he's got a lot to say in Pennsylvania tonight. He's spending a ton of time there. We all know, Larry, if Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, number 45 becomes number 47. Important state.
Yeah, you bet. You know, and just last one on the New York Economics Club. I want to see just plain vanilla tax cuts, regulatory cuts, unlock the fossil fuel spigots, king dollar, protect trade. I want growth. You know, growth polls really well because growth is super important. People want to climb the ladder of success. I want old-fashioned growth. Give me growth. I want him to do growth at the Economics Club of New York. That's what I want. It's at Cipriani's on 42nd Street. Cipriani's equals growth. That's what I'm looking for, Kellyanne.
I believe he will do that. He did that before at the New York Economic Club. We were both there in September 2016. He's going back to the same place. Larry, I remember when he promised 4% growth, President Obama came out and said, what, are we just going to wave our magic wand? And, well, no, he didn't wave his magic wand. It's called policy and principle and causation, not coincidence. He got it up there. But you know what else? It was an optimistic address, as it was in 2020. So I want to see a lot of optimism. Growth is optimistic. And he said in 2020 and 2016, listen, they're for stagnation and inflation and depression and outsourcing our jobs and our wealth overseas. We're for growth and prosperity and opportunity. I think it's a big reason why President Trump is tied with Kamala Harris among Hispanics in some of these polls. Why he's got 20% of African American men, up from his 12% in 2020. This is about economic growth, rising tides lifting all boats. He did the job before. And last point, I love when Donald Trump is specific and substantive. She's generic. He needs to be granular. Even today, I'm going to deregulate. I'm for cutting regulation. Nobody believes her, but it's hard to take her seriously when she doesn't give you specifics anyway. No time for pablum. We need policy and specifics.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't hear it all, but today, you know, the reports. I'm just raising the capital gains tax a little bit. No. You should be cutting the capital gains tax. You should be indexing it for inflation. You should be lowering corporate tax rates. You should be lowering income tax rates. I mean, I don't want just a little increase. I want reductions, because reductions in taxes spell growth. Kellyanne Conway, thank you ever so much. We appreciate it. Folks, be sure to catch Here's the Deal with Kellyanne, now streaming on Fox Nation. There you have it.